I went off grid with 30 pounds of camera gear on my back and a fly rod in hand, through a rocky canyon, up and down cliffs, all to make a documentary solo. And this is what I learned. A few weeks ago, I decided to make a documentary film about fly fishing to enter the Fly Film Festival. Time was an obstacle, but here we are, and the film is in the can. The moment I started packing, I realized that my biggest obstacle wasn't going to be weather or bears or rattlesnakes. It would be compromise.
And nearly back to where I started.
Normally when I go on a film shoot, I pack my SUV with gear, making sure I have all options available and wishing that I had a cargo van like grip truck, so I wouldn't be so cramped. But this time, every piece of gear felt like a compromise, trying to decide what to bring and what to leave behind.
This is the start. It's very all over, and I have to fix this before I go. I also have to cut these boards before I go. Let's see if these work. We're gonna scrap these for this trip, and I'll refine them for the next. And that one is not the right size. What happens when you eyeball it? I've got gear behind me as well as up here. This is camping stuff. I think I'm going to start loading the camping stuff now and then get the other stuff in, because I do want access to the camera gear as I'm driving up. Also, I'm still charging all the batteries. I hope this works.
It was a painful reminder that solo filmmaking in the backcountry is different, and I was going to have to adapt. The first battle was figuring out how to strip down my Blackmagic camera for a backcountry film shoot. If the batteries lasted longer, it likely wouldn't have been an issue. But unfortunately, the Pocket 4K internal batteries last like roughly 30 minutes, so that's not gonna get me very far. So my solution was to use my V-mount batteries and strip it down to basic tripod clamp mount.
This is what's adding tons of weight. I have 3 of these, 2 that size and 1 a little bigger, and ideally it will last me this entire trip, but they're heavy.
This helped me dish the full rail system during each setup, but my smart self still brought it with me, adding unnecessary weight to my backpack. My challenges didn't stop there. I had this idea for an epic shot with the camera slowly pushing over the ledge to reveal me fishing at the bottom of the canyon. But being solo, all I needed to do was bring my slider, and my bag was already 30 pounds and I hadn't even left camp. I just charged the slider battery, and I've got 2 more backups, 4 more backups with some additional lights. I do have to pack all of my fishing gear. I got my travel tripod. Here's stuff. It's been rough. The wise approach would be to creatively come up with another way to utilize camera movement that didn't require me traveling upstream with another 5 to 10 pounds of gear. So instead, I opted to use the slider for an establishing shot as I drove into camp. There was a cool bridge I knew I wanted to get, so I set up the slider to do a move as I drove by. Great, but then when I started setting up the camera, the clouds opened up and it started to rain.
It's been raining, so I now have to I've got to set my tent up before it starts raining again, and all that. I got a couple cool shots, but I found a cool location for my establishing shot of the Sierra Buttes. So I'm going to try a time lapse of that tonight. Hopefully it's not raining, with some stars in the background, and hopefully the cloud cover goes away because it's pretty heavy right now.
Finally, the last fight was a physical one. My 30-pound camera bag and having to climb up a cliff.
This is what I have to set up every time I have to then break it down when I move because I'm climbing up these, and I also have a fly rod, so yeah.
This was exhausting. I had to relearn my weight distribution, to climb over the rocks and up cliffs, through bushy terrain, down mountainsides, and hope that I didn't fall in or down.
I'm on my third setup, sort of. It's been a little crazy. I'm got to get a few more shots in here. Found a new hole I fell in. I decided against climbing up there. I'm just taking the water. I'm already wet. Might as well just make it, and then I'll get across over there. So here we go. Let's hope I don't slip.
Well, I made it back alive. So after all that, after the compromises, the rain, and literally falling down a mountain, I had to ask myself, was it worth it? Did I actually get the film? Did this experiment actually work? So standing there exhausted, I honestly wasn't sure. What do you think? Biggest thing I learned out there, solo filmmaking isn't about having the perfect gear or the perfect plan. It's about knowing your story so well that you can adapt and find a new perfect when the original plan inevitably falls apart. It's creative problem solving, not just getting the shot. Capturing the footage is only half the battle, and sitting in the edit bay and assembling it into a movie is the next fight that needs to be won. And I only have about 5 weeks to finish it. So subscribe to see if I can win the next fight against the clock. And if you want to help keep me fueled for late night editing sessions, you can support the mission by checking out the links in the description below. Every coffee helps, so see you in the next one.